vicious assault. This is a very aggressive assault. And again, they don't want us to raise the alarm before the provocation event they roll it out. That's why they won't cover it. They don't want this out until they stage the terror attack.
Yeah, and with the FBI fomenting every domestic terror attack we see, you know, getting the patsy in to start it all off, then it's a very real possibility, seeing as they've been caught behind every major domestic terror attack in the last 5-10 years.
And it's a mirror in England. They're putting in all the same legislation there and just said, yeah, we listen and watch everything you do without warrants in England. That's all over your news as well. Exact same system.
Yeah, it's a uniform program, which is why you see the same things at roughly the same time happening in Europe and America.
Global government, banker run.
Yeah, Goldman Sachs rules the world.
Well, you know, I've always tried to fix things. But, I mean, I got to tell everybody, folks, you can't go to a re-education camp. And when they started, it's going to be some unpopular group, and they're going to, you know, beta test it. Well, you know, plus, we have the Emergency Centers Act because things are collapsing. That's how they're going to roll it out, is the millions of homeless are going to be in them at first. But then they're going to force everybody else into them. They're going to have a prison section. Go ahead.
Well, the DHS has already established camps for the threat of mass migration, and that was outlined in Rex 84. So, yeah, and as you've documented in Texas, they've already got camps for illegal immigrants, so they'll start it out on illegals, and people will support it, and then they'll extend it from there.
Well, that's what they admit they were planning to do. Thank you, Watson. All right, I want to hear from police and military. Thank you, Paul. 800-259-9231. I want to hear from active duty. I want to hear from police. Are you going to go along with this? Your call straight ahead, 800-259-9231. Infowars.com is the website. Get this article out.
I'd seen the longevity products work for many others. And so
Okay, I will get to more news after your calls, and then Catherine Albrecht's joining us. The Pentagon's announcing plans to microchip troops. DARPA wants it. It's already been going on. But again, when it's all announced to the public, I won't be good for being right. I'll be a bigger kook because I was right. That's how the PSYOP works. Of course, the truth is people are waking up, and we actually fall into the PSYOP. Watson was doing it, even responding to people in denial. Those who are going to be in denial and those that run the PSYOP who give entree to them, they're just giving cowards an opportunity to not look at the facts. We know this is tyranny. We know everything happening is part of a police state takeover. And we better start reversing it and take our states back. It's just that simple. And we get the word out that we don't just have a nasty, corrupt government. We have a really wicked government. It's not a government. It is an occupation by a foreign force of criminals. Okay, we've got Matt in Washington, a police officer. David, who's Navy, listening on an iPod. We got Jesse, military, Army. We're going to go to everybody here in just a moment. We got Dan and others. Let's go to Matt, who is a police officer. What do you make of it? I mean, forced labor camps, slave camps, re-education camps for libertarians and conservatives? I mean, that's the American way, isn't it?
Well, I fall into that category, Alex, so I guess I'll be in the camp, too.
Wow. Well, I guess if they just take enough of us away to the camp, though, they think everybody will just get in line and say, okay, I love world government.
Well, I'm telling you right now, whether I'm in uniform or not, I'm going to fight them. I'm not going to that camp, so they better get prepared. I want to tell you something. I know a couple months ago, as you know, our economy is so-called collapsing, and our city is going through a financial situation. We run in the black, but we're down to the bare bones, and we had a meeting with our city administrator and assistant city administrator, and they were talking about how we needed to write more tickets to bring in more revenue because that was the difference between getting a new patrol car or not. And I piped up and said, hey, we haven't had a new patrol car in 4 years, and we're not revenue-generating police officers, and we're not going to do that. Well, then a couple weeks later, they pulled the chief in and said, hey, we're going to give a $1,000 bonus to whoever writes the most tickets. And he said, no, we're not going to do that. So we do stick up, we do stick up and tell our administrators.
No, I know there are good police all over the. No, listen, I know there are good police all over the country. That's what's been holding. Look. I've had this epiphany, and of course it's common sense, but it's so clear to me. You have a tiny criminal elite at the top who can only operate because all of us are naive about how evil they are, and then they've got all these PR rollouts for why they do things, and they're trying to get us to go along with them, but people didn't go along with torture. People aren't going along with world government, but the globalists don't care. They're just pushing. I mean, how do you think they'd try to get away with putting people in a re-education camp? I mean, that shows how radical and nuts these people are.
And Alex, this is why we have to come together and tell them no, because when we do, they back down. It's when we don't say anything and we go along with the program, then they win. So it starts at the local level. You tell them, no, we're not going to do it. They're not going to fire all of you. We stood together as a brotherhood. I come from a department of about 15 men, and we told them no. And you know what? They're leaving us alone.
Well, that's the problem. Some of these big departments are totally federally run, and they just do whatever they want. But it is crazy. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I'd just like to tell my fellow brothers and sisters out there, maybe those that are on the fence, listen, wake up. I've been a police officer for 15 years. I've listened to Alex for almost 2 years. He knows what he's talking about. Listen, we don't take people's word for it. We research it. Go out there and research it. Look at his website. Read everything that's on there, and then research it yourself. It's real. We need to stand behind this guy, and listen, we need to take back this country. Freedom. Freedom rings. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you. Look, I'm standing beside and behind everybody else, too. Look, I wish this wasn't real. I wish I wasn't the guy on air. I wish so badly that we could reverse this, but these globalists are so powerful and so rich, this is their entertainment. It's like the world is a risk board to them, and this is their fun. They play with our lives like we're little toys. And the reality is so crazy that I know why people don't want to believe it, because I can't believe it. When I have gone to countless urban warfare drills that are public, and I witnessed the military training to confiscate guns, and then I saw them do it in New Orleans, and then now I see them admitting it, and then I see people in denial. There's this long-term program to turn the military and police against us. I know, I don't believe, I know it's backfired to a certain extent, because the propaganda is so ridiculous when they get police behind closed doors and tell them the founding fathers are bad, that people go, what? So the globalists are so over the top that it may actually wake people up.
We're on the march. There was something so pleasant about that place.
Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk to Dan, Jesse, David, Gerald, and a few others, and then I'll get into the other world news ahead of Catherine Albrecht joining us. But this is all done incrementally, this tyranny. And then they bring you to a jump point with a big event that takes place and then roll out the next level of control. And boy, is it broken down in the news today. You can see it coming into clearer and clearer view. You know, I believe in preparedness, and that's also how we finance our operation here, so it's a win-win. I did over a year of research before picking a new water filter company to promote. I just couldn't promote the other one anymore because of listener complaints and things. And I did some research, tested out a bunch of different brands, and I think ProPure, from the stats I've seen and using it in my own home and here at the office, is the best system out there, bar none. And, well, I can show Prisonplanet.tv viewers a shot of it here. This is the Traveler. This is what we use on the RV. It's bigger than most Travelers that you see from other companies. It's beautiful stainless steel, has the stainless steel spigot. It's not plastic junk, doesn't have the bisphenol A leaching out. And if you look inside of them, by going to Infowars.com, anybody can look at it. They have the fluoride filter optional on the bottom, but on the top, it's got the gravity-fed filter impregnated with the silver inside, and it's a bigger domed filter and works a lot better than the leading competitors. So go look at the stats at Infowars.com with ProPure, and your purchases of the high-quality product also makes this show possible. and allows us to hire more crew, more reporters, and put out more news and information. Because we're self-financed here. We don't have George Soros or the New World Order funding us like the mainstream globalist trader media, or NBC getting hundreds of millions of taxpayer money in bailouts. And that's why they push all this anti-gun, anti-family garbage. So go to Infowars.com. We have 10% off on ProPure. We already have the lowest price anywhere for ProPure at Infowars.com. But if you add water, the promo code in, you get additional 10% off at Infowars.com. You can also call toll-free 888-253-3139. Okay, let me just shut up and go to your phone calls now. Let's go to Gerald, who's Special Forces, was Special Forces, now in the National Guard. Gerald in Arkansas. What is your take on the official Army manual for operations in the U.S. for re-education camps and slave labor? Am I anti-American for not thinking that North Korean-style government is the way to go?
Absolutely, you're not.
What is your view on this, sir?
I'm 100% against it, and when the NDAA passed on New Year's Eve, I started my own YouTube channel and started video blogging about why this is wrong and why military members need to wake up and start thinking about getting out of the service.
Break down from your perspective. I mean, they've always been getting the camps ready the last 20 years, but now they've accelerated their construction. That's on record. But now admitting their re-education camps. I mean, I've been to the drills and seen them doing this type of stuff, but this is admission. This, as one commenter said, I was saying this is an indictment. They convict themselves. And the commenter on my video I shot this morning, titled Army to Oversee Torture and Slave Labor in America, the commenter, in fact, it's still the top comment up there, said, this isn't a manual, this is a confession.
Yeah, I'm pretty amazed that they came out and so blatantly spelled out the facts that this is for American citizens as well as operations overseas. So I don't know if they're getting more overconfident or if they're somebody who's writing the manuals might be saying, well, maybe if we put it out there a little like this, maybe people will start waking up. I don't know.
Well, undoubtedly, I've had national media tell me, look, I really like what you're doing, but they'll never let me publish it if I don't attack you a little bit. And they're so arrogant and stupid, these globalists above me, that as long as I just throw a few names in and make a few jokes, they think that's effective. I know it's not. And then the article comes out and actually helps us. So I've had multiple national publications where off record they say, listen, I'm on your side. So, I mean, it's already happening. It's already happening.
Absolutely. And on that note, I want to point something out that's happening to me. I've been out of work since August of last year, and I've been applying for jobs. And with my resume and background, nobody's given me the time of day, which is leading me to think that perhaps Homeland Security is blacklisting veterans, especially ones that might be speaking out.
Well, no, they said that in the new system, you won't get a job unless Homeland Security says it's a no-fly, no-gun-buy. And if we give into that and say, okay, I'll do what you say or I won't have a job, that's what the Soviets did when they'd occupy a place first. The Nazis did that. And if you give in, you lose everything. These are terrorists. And that's why they're bringing in this classical system. I mean, we have the Attorney General saying he meets with the media heads to brainwash the American people against the Second Amendment. I mean, they see themselves as brainwashers. Every action movie that I rent or buy, because I've got an old treadmill and an old DVD player, people are like, get it on Netflix. The point is, every movie I see when I jog in the garage every morning, every action movie I watch now, every one has checkpoints in them and black uniforms and has someone say, what's this? Oh, just a routine checkpoint. I keep forgetting the name of the latest movie. It's got, it's not Salt, which is really stupid. And that's got checkpoints all over it. It's got a chick who's a Marine, who's a private contractor trying to save a hostage. and then they actually kill the hostages.
Major domestic terror attack in the last 5-10 years.
And it's a mirror in England. They're putting in all the same legislation there and just said, yeah, we listen and watch everything you do without warrants in England. That's all over your news as well. Exact same system.
Yeah, it's a uniform program, which is why you see the same things at roughly the same time happening in Europe and America.
Global government, banker run.
Yeah, Goldman Sachs rules the world.
Well, you know, I've always tried to fix things. But, I mean, I got to tell everybody, folks, you can't go to a re-education camp. And when they started, it's going to be some unpopular group, and they're going to, beta test it. Well, plus, we have the Emergency Centers Act because things are collapsing. That's how they're going to roll it out, is the millions of homeless are going to be in them at first. But then they're going to force everybody else into them. They're going to have a prison section. Go ahead.
Well, the DHS has already established camps for the threat of mass migration, and that was outlined in Rex 84. So, yeah, and as you've documented in Texas, they've already got camps for illegal immigrants. So they'll start it out on illegals, and people will support it, and then they'll extend it from there.
Well, that's what they admit they were planning to do. Thank you, Watson. All right, I want to hear from police and military. Thank you, Paul. 800-259-9231. I want to hear from active duty. I want to hear from police. Are you going to go along with this? Your call straight ahead, 800-259-9231. Infowars.com is the website. Get this article out.
I'd seen the longevity products work for many others. And so
Okay, I will get to more news after your calls, and then Catherine Albrecht's joining us. The Pentagon's announcing plans to microchip troops. DARPA wants it. It's already been going on. But again, when it's all announced to the public, I won't be good for being vicious assault. This is a very aggressive assault. And again, they don't want us to raise the alarm before the provocation event they roll it out. That's why they won't cover it. They don't want this out until they stage the terror attack.
Yeah, and with the FBI fomenting every domestic terror attack we see, getting the patsy in to start it all off, then it's a very real possibility, seeing as they've been caught behind every